funny and it's so complicated. You can just be very much, you know what I'm saying, in the prison within the activist community.
Right.
It's mad funny. It's just the world of life is blah,
Right.
And then you get that type of depression or that type of funk.
Right.
Or that type of numbness, like, you know what I'm saying?
That shit just fucks with you.
You know what I'm saying? Just being like very numb to everything.
Right.
Whatever. But and
I get it.
talking about like, you know, like the comfort level, like what all of us are just mad active and, you know, not necessarily the norm in the subversive community. But within this you can get very comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like it can be very comforting to just always fight in one particular way. And I don't know, it's just, I guess, I don't know, it's mad things, mad stuff, but it's just interesting. It's like, while we're here, while we do this, we do this, what we do, you know, changing all this stuff. And it's not denigrating any of that work, because that's why we're here, that's who we are. But it's like, okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. Feel me?
How do we let ourselves out of that?
I'm sorry?
How do we lead ourselves out of that when we have led ourselves into a place where we thought we would be free, but then we got ourselves out of one cage and into another one.
Something new.
And so then, and you came to escape the hypocrisy, the whatever, and then you find yourself in a place full of flawed people who brought the same baggage from the places you came from into the room that you tried to lead it in. But yet we're here. How do we lead ourselves out of that? Does anybody have
It's like accepting
ideas?
that you can't. I feel like part of it is accepting that there's certain things that you cannot. And that's part of the beauty of being challenged and not accepting comfort of being. It's like sheer existence in this world. Like if you look at like the Buddhist way of life, like, you know, life is suffering. What's up? Like step one, shit is fucked up. Like in accepting that. It's like that's what it is. Like part of just growing and evolving is going against the opposition. The natural way of life is just opposition. It's always going to be somebody that's going to try to fucking dead you.
Right.
It's always going to be something. That's what it is. Why you're here is
We're not even trying, you know what I mean? That shit is just dead ass. I feel like negativity is so common, you know what I mean? Just with the stupidest shit around you in the hood, you know what I mean? Your boys are cokeheads, you know what I mean? The parents are acting like kids. You know what I mean? It's just straight up all like retardedness. You know what I mean? I can't even tell you how many times like I talk to moms or whatever, and you know what I mean, something as stupid as like say like they'll get tight that their daughter is dating a black dude or a Mexican dude or whatever. You know what I mean? Something like you're the example, bomb. You ready? And like if you're thinking outside the box, you're already just like, wait, what? Like this
Right.
is stupid. Am I supposed to think like that too? So there's a headache right there, bomb. Outside of that. You know what I mean? You're gonna tell your most of your friends or whatever, but some of your friends agree, pong, there's another headache right there. Then you realize they do coke, pong, there's another one right there, you know what I mean? It's just straight like pong, like right every corner is just a fucking headache, you know what I mean? And then you can step outside of that and you can go to fucking like a white school and just say, you know what I mean, all nice, everyone got money there, pong, like, it's worse there, you know?
There's a thing that the religion I grew up in, now I bet none of y'all would guess it, but Mormonism.
Okay.
There's a thing that they teach us, and I will defend Mormonism to my dying day. I look it, I know that.
Cool.
The only religion I will ever believe in.
Cool.
But it's being in the world and not of the world. Being here, doing what you do, not what the world does.
Well, but can it be both? Because I mean, I know that like my invisible is always has to deal with homophobia, and I know just a lot of times being just who I am in any given space kind of carves that out. So I think it has to be both being in and of the world, I guess, because like having to be there and it, like being even in enlightened communities, and all of a sudden you realize that maybe they're like misogynistic or homophobic and they're supposed to be enlightened. So I think it's got to be both coming at it from a sense where you're in the community and you understand what's going on, but can also like.
I think it's mentally you have to rise above it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to walk around naked just because everyone else in the world's wearing clothes. That would be ridiculous. But I like clothes.
But sometimes it's in your blood. Like right now, I'm like, it's been like 3 years. Like I'm like, or maybe 4. I'm like recovering from like different diseases, like the government probably manufactured, like going to different doctors, they were telling me like, you're crazy, you don't have anything, like I know there's a thing in my blood, like not being able to pay, like finally realizing like I have to go to doctors that don't accept medical care to even like admit that I have the diseases that I knew I had all along. Like that doesn't, you know, like sometimes like it's like literally physically in your blood.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I have fibromyalgia, which
Yeah.
a lot of people do not recognize as a real condition. And it comes along with a plethora of things. Insomnia, vertigo. I mean, I have an eating disorder from it. I could pass out from a flash of light and not know when it's going to happen.
Right.
And a lot of doctors were like, the only way to test for that is to touch you on certain places of your body, and if you say ow to enough of them, then you have it. And there's only one drug for it, and it doesn't do anything for me.
Like,
Oh, one more.
How do we find our way to make sense out of it? I mean, there's so many things that it's contradiction on top of contradiction. I know you said it can be overwhelming. Shit, it definitely can be overwhelming to me. How do we make sense out of it? Because that's
It's kind of like, I think a lot of people that get into the fight or they kind of think that there's an end to it, but the unfortunate fact is humans are imperfect, so there's no end to the fight, so if you stop fighting, it's just going to get worse. But the continual fighting will make it, maybe, I don't know if better is the word for it, but it won't get worse if you continue to fight against the norm or the machine, if you would like to call it. But it's not going to end, and I think that's one of the things we definitely need to admit to, that there is no end to this. Like, it's not going to end. The way to get it keep going though is be who you are, know what your fight is, teach your children to love themselves and love the world as a whole, and have them understand that they will also need to fight, whether they like it or not. It's something that they need to do.
I think it's in.
I was gonna say, well, like, if that were the case, and every single citizen or human being on this planet realized that, then maybe the entire world would be a better place. But then there are those people that are either closed-minded or just don't give a fuck or don't care or aren't aware of anything going on, and then they don't have a choice and they just go about their life not knowing that there is a war going on, like, versus imperfection. And even though there's not a winner in this war, that just doing something about it makes someone feel like a better person, or like they're being productive and they're doing something about it.
right.
Instead of just being like, that's happening, that's gonna stay like that, I'm gonna walk away and watch it.
but we need those too, because that's just reality. And
That you need to walk away.
yeah, that there's just gonna be those, you know, on your side fighting for whatever, those who are against you, those who are complacent. That's just like the reality of it, you know what I'm saying? Like accepting those people. That's one thing I'm trying to learn too, just not looking, judging people, but looking at people, accepting that you're from the hood, that you're in the projects, and it's a beautiful place, and the suburbs can be just as much as, like, no matter where you go, life ain't shit, right? So it's like accepting that fully on, like accepting.
Like, everyone is affected. Like, for an example, someone who got beat by their dad could be just as affected by someone like that yelled at by their dad.
Sure.
So it's
Sure.
just like, that's
So
one of the
relative.
things we need to.
We all feel the same exact deepness of emotion. It's just how we feel it is different.
I think the fight is in creating counterculture or counter propaganda, because that's what a lot of us artists that we're here that we create, right? How does culture come about? It's a story that everyone tries to enact to. It doesn't even matter if that shit is real. The shit is a story. The fact that there's a story, like, like let's take for example Hitler. His story about his or certain people being superior doesn't mean that shit is true. It doesn't mean that you are with the story, but people started enacting to it, and everybody got swept into it, believing that Africans are 3/5 of human beings. I'm sure everybody didn't believe that shit, but you got swept into it. You see that? Like that whole creating that propaganda, that culture. The way to fight is to create that counterculture, that counter propaganda. Let that shit go viral. In this age of YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, everyone needs a blog. Everyone needs to be retweeting all the time. Like, yeah, like, just create. Like, people forget how important that creating is. And I'm not just talking about creating art, but creating spaces that you can do it in, spaces that you can create dialogue. Like when you're on the train and that person is looking at you, just start a conversation with them. See what you end up with. That shit is crazy.
Right.